Hello everyone, I will do a demo of our UI for Nondominium, and we'll talk a little bit about the concepts that we developed for UI UX. So first of all, we want to get out of this page paradigm where everything is flat in 2D and you navigate from top to bottom. So we want to get away from this kind of boring navigation space that gives the impression that you're into a finite environment, kind of locked into a box with very hard limits, and use this idea of a landscape that has a perspective. So there is stuff that is close to you and stuff that is far from you, but gives you this idea of infinity. At least in one direction. So instead of being trapped into a page, you are looking at a landscape, and that generates a new user experience. And so there's navigation that you could, parallax. You can use parallax for that, and use some navigation techniques to look at the landscape. So here you could kind of change a little bit the perspective, but also what we added in our UI is the ability to navigate through these layers. So that's the whole idea of parallax, is that you create a landscape using layers, and you can navigate by panning the landscape left and right, and by diving deeper into the landscape, approaching the horizon or going towards the horizon. These are the two navigation techniques, and the data is laid out in the landscape in a way that provides you an immediate access to things, objects that are in your vicinity, but also gives you an idea of the context by looking further away. So that's the concept that we want to develop. So here's a mock-up UI that we did for Nondominium. Essentially, these are resources and agents and some other things that are arranged on top of three layers. As you can see, the ones that are before us are sharper, so we can make them larger, but for now let's just give the concept. They are sharper means that they are part of your immediate context. We call this the meso layer. It's the layer of the interaction. You can click on them and go into the micro layer, dive deep into every one of these entities, and you can have them arranged left right. If you have a lot of items that are kind of required or important to be in your vicinity, within your reach, and then you can navigate through these layers by diving a little deeper. So the second layer becomes the first layer, becomes your meso layer, and so forth. Obviously, if we had more data, we would continue to populate the layers behind as we navigate through the landscape. And so you have a bunch of elements that are arranged in a landscape. Gives you the impression of having unbounded space that you can navigate through, which is the depth, and get closer to these items that at the first glance they were not important, but you may want to jump to that layer and redefine your priorities and make these resources according to their, or these items or objects according to their metadata, make them more important for you. Change your context, let's say. So that's the experience, panning left right and diving into the landscape. You can change this by having different kind of views. In this particular example, it's a focus on resources. So what you see is everything related to resources. There's everything related to agents. So according to kind of main role in this this kind of community, you can look at the data from different perspectives, but you always have the same user experience generated by the idea of a landscape instead of a page, and your ability to move through the landscape horizontally or moving deeper into it. So we had another proposition for how to look at this, which is a three-dimensional space. Unfortunately, here I think what's lacking is that in this particular case we're losing the idea that the space is structured. Okay, so here we are in a space where the up, down, left, right don't have any particular meaning. Therefore, we lose our ability to intuitively interpret spatial relations, which is the case in the landscape. We have a privileged direction here, which is the vertical one. We can navigate through it, and we have another axis, which is the left and right, and we kind of know that, you know, objects in the vicinity in our meso environment are the ones that are immediately accessible to the user, and it's kind of intuitive in this particular case that the level of proximity or matching of these items to the user is less as we go further away. So the space has a structure. There is an up and down, and the up has a different meaning than the down, and then there's a left and right that it's probably they're interchangeable at this moment. There is no particular semantics attached to the left or the right, other than just looking at the data horizontally. Yeah, so in this case, yeah, well, I from the user experience perspective, I feel like we're kind of lost because we don't the axes, three-dimensional axes of this space don't have a clear meaning, other than perhaps, you know, the more you go deeper, the more you see objects that are not necessarily into. So there's a scrolling function here that are not necessarily in your immediate interest. Yeah, but at this point in time, I prefer the kind of this spatial structure here with the landscape. Obviously, can be made more beautiful, make disappear the lines, make it more organic in terms of landscape, and probably even work a little bit on how the some other type of interactions, like mouse hovering over. We already have the clicking. Another little thing that you could see here, these are status signals that are attached to various objects that have their own meanings, and they can also be used for stigmergic signaling that allows the community that would use such an application to coordinate without the need of central planning. So there you go. That's it for now. Please provide some feedback. I can make another video for you in case you're interested to have a dialogue or to provide more insight.